Black Noir is the most interesting member of the Seven, mainly because of how much we just don't know about him. But given everything we've seen on the show, he just might be the most powerful soup there is. That's right, even more powerful than Homelander. Today's video is all about everyone's favorite silent ninja assassin, Black Noir. I'll break down everything we know about him, his abilities, and what they might mean for the future of the boys. Will the show be comic accurate, or are we in for a swerve? We'll discuss all that right now, so suit up and let's get started. Be warned, this is your official spoiler warning for the show and the comic. So if you don't want to know anything about Black Noir, I suggest you try another video. Everyone who's read the comics knows about Black Noir's backstory. In the comics, he's not just the silent, highly trained ninja he appears to be, but he's actually Homelander's clone, who was created by Vought as a failsafe to kill Homelander if the top hero ever went rogue or went out of line. The problem with that was that when you're created with one specific purpose, in Black Noir's case to kill Homelander, you kind of want to fulfill that purpose. As time went on, Black Noir grew increasingly more insane as he waited to get his shot at killing Homelander, and decided to start framing Homelander for various crimes. This, of course, led to the jaw-dropping twist that Homelander wasn't actually the one who assaulted Butcher's wife and got her pregnant, and that was in fact Black Noir disguised as Homelander. Wow. In the end, Homelander attempts to kill Black Noir, but since Black Noir is a clone, he's just as strong and ends up breaking Homelander's jaw and opening his face in a way that would probably make Kimiko proud. But one thing should be abundantly clear here. That was all in the comics. It's still unconfirmed if the show will follow Black Noir's comic storyline, but given everything we've seen so far, it doesn't seem that likely. I mean, just look at how many changes the show has done already. Homelander is definitely Ryan's father, and while Black Noir does appear tremendously powerful, there's a lot of mounting evidence that the show's creators are going to do a different route with Black Noir. The creator, Eric Kripke, even said as much. He said in an interview he loves how mysterious Black Noir is, and how it's interesting to have a character you can't quite figure out, and is hesitant to reveal a backstory for him. Now, this could easily just be the classic producer misdirect to throw off suspicion. Maybe Kripke is trying to not spoil the Homelander clone twist, but his words seem pretty definite, and again, judging from everything we've seen so far, it just doesn't seem likely that the show will faithfully follow the comic storyline. And that's okay. In a lot of ways, that's actually better. Part of the fun of the show is watching them adapt things a little differently than the comics, while still keeping the comic essence. Take Lamplighter, for instance. His story is relatively the same in the comics, where he killed Mallory's grandchildren, but everything after that is different. So maybe that's what they're going to do with Black Noir. Maybe he can retain elements of his comic book backstory without fully adapting it. But what does that exactly mean, and how does it make him the most powerful? Well, let's take a look at his currently known skill set and just stare in awe at some of his abilities. Obviously, he's an expert in all kinds of martial arts, and his hand-to-hand combat skills are said to be the best in the world. Now, that's probably just some normal Vought propaganda, but seeing him in action, that might not be too far off base. His bio has said that he trained with a special sensei in the art of martial arts, and that's why he's where he is today. We don't know how much of that is exactly true, and it will be interesting to see what else is revealed about his martial arts training. In the show, did he really pull a Batman and train in the mountains for years, or did he learn it in a Vought lab somewhere? But if you think about it, the martial arts skill isn't necessarily a superpower that was given to him because of Compound V. That's something anyone could learn. Heck, I just binge-watched Cobra Kai on Netflix, so now even I have a basis for karate, right? All I'm saying is his martial arts make him deadly, but they're not his biggest superpower. We also know he possesses superhuman strength to the point where he was able to go toe-to-toe with Kimiko and even disembowel her. And from what we've seen about how tough Kimiko is, that's incredibly hard to do. He's strong enough to send Butcher flying across the room with one hit, and can easily lift a big guy like Butcher with one hand without breaking a sweat. Those are just small glimpses of Black Noir's super strength, but it's clear there's a lot of untapped potential there. We also know that he has enhanced agility, hearing, and speed. Mother's Milk once said that Black Noir could outrun a car, and although we haven't seen just how fast the ninja can move, I wouldn't put it past him. But let's get to his big power that's been showcased quite a few times in Season 2. It's his invulnerability. In the first episode of the season, we saw Black Noir expertly take down an entire compound of terrorists by himself to assassinate Nakib, which he did in typically ruthless style. But when the terrorist exploded to try to kill Black Noir, it didn't slow the 7 hero down at all. Also notice how in his fight with Butcher and the boys, Black Noir's body seemed impaled and damaged from all the homemade bombs the boys made, and Huey even shoots a bullet through Black Noir's hand. So if we're comparing the durability of someone like Black Noir to Homelander, it's different. Nothing can really pierce Homelander's skin, and anything would just bounce right off him. Black Noir, on the other hand, seems to be vulnerable, but either doesn't feel any pain, or his healing factor is so good that it cures him instantly. And some might say this makes him weaker than Homelander, but I would argue that this makes him stronger. Sure, Homelander's skin makes him very difficult to injure, but it also makes him cocky. Homelander isn't afraid to stroll in anywhere because he knows he can't get hurt, but that also makes him sloppy. Sure, he has super speed, but that doesn't mean he uses it all the time to dodge attacks. Black Noir may not feel pain, but he's still vulnerable to damage, which means he has to always be alert and ready for danger. And I think that's a major difference in why Black Noir is more powerful. If we get to a situation where Soup's abilities were being taken away by some new drug, which, I mean, come on, the show has to explore at some point, right? Then heroes like Homelander would be at a huge disadvantage, and someone like Black Noir would thrive. Think about it this way: if all the Seven's powers were stripped away, who would be the best? That would be Black Noir. He would at least have his martial arts training and knife-throwing abilities still locked and loaded, even if he lost his super strength, his tolerance to pain, and other abilities. And besides his abilities, what else makes Black Noir the most powerful member of the Seven? Well, from what we've seen, it looks like his personality is the most straightforward out of any of the 7 members. Now, this is going off the notion that they're going to change Black Noir's backstory and not have him be an insane Homelander clone who just snaps, but rather remain the character we've seen so far represented in the show. If that holds true, then Black Noir is a really serious threat, because he, so far, can't be reasoned with. Homelander is the strongest hero on Earth at the moment, but show him a bottle of milk or not show up for a date that you set, and his fragile ego is gonna break. A-Train is a spiraling mess who could easily be blackmailed. Queen Maeve cares too much for her girlfriend for that to be used against her. The Deep can be outsmarted by a first grader, it seems. And Starlight cares way too much for the people close to her. Black Noir seems to have none of that. He's just a man with his missions. If Vought tells him to go do something, he'll do it. The only possible weakness that can be exploited with Black Noir would possibly be children. Look how he creepily tried to comfort that kid at the start of Season 2 with the stuffed animal. Sure, he was holding a severed head at the time, but it seems like he was trying to really make the kid feel better. And also, rewatch the scene with him crying in the hallway. This was the first full glimpse of emotion we saw from Black Noir, and it's easy to assume he was crying because he was hit with a bombshell of where his powers came from. But I think there's another way to read that scene. Listen to what is being said while Black Noir is crying, and you'll see that it's about kids who can suffer serious dangerous side effects if they're not careful. Could Black Noir have actually been crying because he was listening to kids being hurt? Pair that with the scene in the beginning of the season, and I think that's a possibility. But if that's his only weakness, then he's still miles ahead of everyone else in the Seven. Overall, Black Noir is a delight to watch. He's shown us just enough personality to intrigue us, and I know I'm always wondering where he's going to pop up next. He's given us some of the funniest moments on the show, with things like him trying to reach for an appetizer, or him intimidating the piano player to get up and move so he could start playing himself. These moments have really established him as a quirky character who immediately turns around and terrifies us with his skills and intimidation factor. Though he does seem incredibly loyal to Vought. If Edgar told Black Noir to turn around and kill Homelander, it seems like he would definitely do it without question. And I think that's what makes him so dangerous. Going forward, it seems like Black Noir is gearing up to have a major role in coming events. The Seven looks like it's kind of on the ropes recently, with Starlight's full betrayal, the Deep and A-Train getting involved with their fancy new cult, Queen Maeve trying to desperately get out from under Homelander's thumb, and Stormfront getting Homelander wrapped around her electric fingers. Vought is gonna need straight soldiers like Black Noir to keep order within the Seven. And maybe it could lead to a Homelander and Black Noir fight, because come on, that's what we all want to see, right? What do you think? Do you think Black Noir could take Homelander in a fight? Or do you think they're going to do something different with his character?